Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brendan Pajazic here with Wave Alchemy, and today I'm going to go over all of the features added to the newest Triaz update. Without further ado, let's jump right in. So to show off these cool features, I'm just going to real quick go into our preset browser and load a wrap preset of some sort. We'll go with Dark Drip. Cool, so I'm just gonna press S to go into our sequencer. Since the last update, there's been a lot of really cool features added to the sequencer page, most notably with our randomization pattern functions. So now as a hotkey, we can press R when we're in the sequencer. And now you'll see that we have our whole randomization section, and it's a lot more usable than it used to be. So right now, we can easily just press randomize pattern, and we have our genres here. So since I'm in a rap one, it automatically detects that I'm in rap, so I can press randomize pattern, and now I have a whole new pattern. And then if you want to switch the genre, you can easily just go here and say we want to go into pop or R&B, or now if you want to add more than one genre, on Windows you press Control and click multiple. On Mac, you would press Command. So let's see what pop and R&B will give us. Exit that. So now we can get really specific with not only which drums we want to affect, but also how much we want to affect them. So let's say, for instance, we only want to randomize the kick drum, and let's say we don't want to randomize it in an R&B and pop section. Let's give it an experimental kind of kick drum. So I'm only going to randomize it by pressing this dice button right here, just the kick drum. Let me get rid of that. And let me turn the intensity all the way up so we get a full effect. And you can see each time I click it, we're getting a different option. And if I go lower, if I go all the way to 0, it'll give me the least possible. If I go to 100% and then turn the random intensity up to 100%, we'll get more. So the way it works is the random intensity, say I have it at 50% and this kick drum is at 100%, I will actually only get 50% because that's what this is set to. So if I drag this to about 50%, then I'm only getting 25% randomization. So let's say for this instance that I want to change everything but the kick drum. I can now lock the kick drum and then press Pattern Randomizer, and you'll see even the length of the preset changes, which is super cool. So now we have the option on each channel. If we click on these dots right here, we can save our pattern. We can also copy the pattern and paste it to another one. So copy, go into here, paste, and we got the exact same as that one. Not only that, but we also have the option to save our patterns. So let's say you always have the snares on the 2s and 4s, or you always have them on the 1s and the 3s. You can save one version that's 1 and 3 and one version that's 2 and 4 and always reload that very easily. What's also cool is that we now have the option to reverse the pattern. So I'll do that with the hi-hats because it's a lot more obvious. So you click reverse pattern, and then you have to click this button right here, which is basically to generate. If you're confused about what any feature in Triaz does, always easy, just go to the top right here, click this I button, and then if you hover over something, it will tell you all the options and it'll tell you what everything does. All we have to do is press this button to generate. So you can see it completely flipped our pattern. So you'll notice that not only do we have reverse pattern, but we have reverse and shift pattern. Basically the difference between these is that reverse and shift will keep the first note exactly where it is and reverse everything else. So you'll see now we have 3 at the beginning. If I click just reverse, we have the 2 exactly reversed. So if you click this drop down menu to the right of the Humanize, you'll see that we now have the option to humanize each layer separately. So same kind of idea as with the randomize function. If the humanize is at say 35% and this is at all at 100, the max that it will go is 35% humanize. So to illustrate, let's turn all of these off except for the hi-hat. Versus, you'll notice that the only drum that doesn't have this option is the kick drum, just because kick drums usually you don't want them to be too sloppy, and if you do want them to be sloppy for whatever reason, you always have the option to go into start and then shift them early or late. So no matter what, you can do that with all your drums. It's just now the Humanize function is there just to make things a little bit quicker and easier. So also within the randomizer is this create new bank feature. So if we have it selected, it'll be white there instead of grayed out. And if we press randomize pattern, it'll make a whole new pattern, but on bank 2. And then since it's selected, every time I press randomize pattern, it will create a new bank with a whole new pattern. And then if I turn it off, it will randomize within the same one. A cool way to give you different options if you want a verse and then a chorus or a bridge, or if you just want different feels. So that's it with the sequencer, but now let's move on to the preset browser. What's really cool now is we have the option to both lock the pattern and lock the kit. So let's say that you like the drum pattern that you have going on, but you want to change all the samples. Instead of pressing randomize sample, we can now lock the pattern, and then we can go through all of the presets that are already existing. Hundreds of presets. So let's go back into the sequencer to show you what's going on. So since I have lock pattern enabled, I'll play the pattern. But watch as I switch the preset, all of the sounds will change, but the pattern's the exact same. Again, just another cool feature to make it as easy as possible when you're trying to write your songs. And then we also have the option, press P to go into our preset browser, where instead of locking the pattern, we can lock the kit. So now, back into our sequencer page, when we switch our preset, the kit's going to be the exact same, but the pattern's going to be different. A really cool feature that again was suggested by one of you. So if you have any features at all that you'd like to see in a future Triaz update, let us know in the comments down below. We read them all and we take them all seriously. So now to head into the sound panel to go over some of the cool features added there. Right off the bat, in our start section, before we could only use our start to interrupt the sample and start it later on, midway through the sample. But now we have the option to go into the negatives, and basically this is going to delay the sample. So you'll see what I mean. Really cool option to flam things and to make our drums sound bigger just by giving them a little bit different space in time. And obviously we can unlink our samples. Let's move this to the middle. And then make sure that every single clap is coming at a different time just to make it sound even bigger and even more flammy. Still in the sound panel, we now have the option to flip phase, which is really good if you're trying to layer things and you're finding that it's sounding thinner rather than thicker. Maybe your sample's out of phase, you can easily just press this button here to flip it. To illustrate this next feature, I've loaded in a preset that I've made with my own samples that I've dragged into Triaz. Super easy. If you're not sure how to do that, check out this video right here. So let's head over to our master effects right here, and we now have a new drive option, which is punch. So let's give it a listen. So right now I have crunch, which was my favorite up until this point. Here's the preset as is. Let's really drive it. It's basically emulating a very heavily saturated tape machine. So it's up to you whether you like this one or whether you like a different drive option or none at all. Which brings me to the final point of today's video. We now have the option to save master effects and send effects and recall them for future presets. Let me just do an EQ move just to show you. Whatever. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna click save master effects, punch. So now I'm on a new preset, I'm just gonna load that master effects onto this one. Just by hitting load master effects, and then you find it, punch. You see we have the whole thing right there. And then the same is true with the send effects here. So say you have a reverb, delay, and second reverb effect that you really like. We can, same thing, right click, save send effects, and then recall it later. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already downloaded the update, or if you don't have Triaz yet and you're interested in checking it out, check out the link in the description down below. And again, let us know if there's any features you'd like to see in a future version. Remember to stay creative, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. See ya.